2015 World Cup poster and you put your faces on it. So Christen and I were wondering, whose faces did you cover?
Welcome back to the recap show. We are so happy to be here. And just before we started recording, Tobin let me know that she expected me to lead and carry the entire episode. So good luck to me.
Good luck.
That's it? No defense?
No.
This week, we decided to do things a little bit different. We always want to keep you on your toes here on TRS. So we, for the very first time, are throwing back to one of our first episodes we ever recorded. Obviously, it has made a lot of noise that Alyssa has left us at Angel City and gone across the pond to play for Chelsea. And we've had Alyssa on the show twice. And the first time, it felt like she was a new player on the scene. And she had just come back from the World Cup. And she and I did not know each other because I was out with my ACL. She was quite nervous, I remember. And she was just a young duckling, and she's made so much progress over these years and on her journey to Chelsea. So we're going to revisit some of the best bits of that episode.
Let's do it.
But, you know, Tobin and I, over the last few weeks, have been reflecting on our friendship with Alyssa, being teammates. I sat right next to her, and we were locker buddies. And as everyone knows, we had a special relationship that meant a lot to me. And I got to really follow her and cheer her on in her progress. And so this move was exciting and scary and a little sad for me in losing a piece of my journey at Angel City that meant a lot to me. How did you feel when you heard the news, Tobin?
Yeah, I think I felt really proud, and I think it just shows how quickly these kids are growing up and how much experience they can have at such a young age. And it very much feels like Alyssa's journey is still just getting started.
Yes.
And obviously, this is part of these younger kids becoming professionals so early. Is we have a player now that she played 3 years in the NWSL. We saw like such a evolution from her. And now, you know, is one of the highest transfers going over to arguably one of the best clubs in the world, is really exciting. And I know it was a little emotional for you. I felt a little bit emotional as well. And, but I'd say like really proud. I mean, this is what we root for. You know, we root for our US talent. This is what we've, in a lot of ways, what we feel like we've passed down to them, and especially for you working alongside Alyssa, that must have been a really cool experience, and one that, you know, was new for you as well.
Yeah, and honestly, it's a decision that we both took ourselves when we were younger players. But the game was different then.
Yeah.
It was totally different. And I think from the outside, when people see these big contracts, they think, oh, this is a contract for one of the best players in the world. But actually, what's hard about this is the contracts and the way the money flows, it's for potential.
Yeah.
And Alyssa is the first one who will say this. The contract is so that over the next half a decade, she becomes one of the most prolific attackers in the world.
Yeah.
And that's the pressure that comes with this type of professionalism and contract and these numbers. Mm-hmm. But it's not a contract of, hey, you've arrived. Mm-mm. You've been a MVP candidate for the last 5 years in the NWSL, and now you're going to the next level.
Yeah.
It's, hey, you could be. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of expectation. And I think it's really scary to put myself in her shoes. It would be really scary to go from high school to Angel City to one of the top rosters in the world, to play with and alongside every single day in training, top talent like there is at Chelsea. That is a challenge. And I think from my perspective, I think she took it because of the challenge.
Yeah.
To be able to compete with the top US talent for her national team spot. If you look at the statistics of where she is against, you know, Sophia and Kat and Mal, she has a lot that she has to prove in order to solidify her role on that team. And a decision like this to go to Chelsea is to take that challenge and to get to the next level.
Yeah, it's brave. I think that's what I see as a lot of bravery and a lot of belief. And look, if you want to be considered one of the best players in the world, these are the types of decisions that you have to make. You have to go up against the best in the world. And these are the ways that you get nominated for a Ballon d'Or, win a Ballon d'Or. You play on these top clubs, you play in Champions League, you play in World Championships, you prove yourselves over and over again. And this is how you get to be considered one of the best players in the world. And the fact that she's, 20 years old and she's making this decision, it's brave. And she's going over there to develop. She's not going over there already having arrived as a finished package. And I know day in and day out, the same way when she's in the national team, when she would come back from club being away with the national team for 2 weeks, because her ability to learn, she would be a completely different player every time she came back from international duty. And now she's going to get that same type of demanding, like, you have to evolve in order to be in the starting lineup of Chelsea. You have to develop, you have to evolve. And she's going to be pushed. She's going to be around some of the top players. She's not the best player on that team. Could she easily become one relatively quickly given the Alyssa Thompson trajectory? Of course. But she has to be grateful because she is surrounded by players that are going to make her better every single day, not just when she goes into national team. Yeah.
And before she left, what was the advice you gave her?
Well, it's funny because I kind of had a little bit of a flashback because I remember when Alyssa first got, was it drafted back then?
Yeah.
Drafted to, wow, look at all the changes. Drafted to Angel City. I remember telling you let's take Alyssa out to dinner and and get to know her and welcome her.
And I was like, no,
yeah,
let's not. She's 19. No, she's 18.
And I was so excited because there is a big part of me that loves the next generation and kind of developing the next generation. And so we went out to dinner and it was so far from what I thought it was going to be like because the gap in age, how do you even talk to a young player? I mean, you figured it out really quickly, but it was just so clear how young she was. But then now thinking back to we had a goodbye, lunch with Alyssa and thinking about how much she had evolved from that first time we sat down.
Brings a tear to my eye.
It's just so cool, So thinking about in 3 years what she was capable of doing, if she continues in that pace of her trajectory, she could be the best player in the world in 3 years.
Yeah. So what I remember you telling her is that it's going to be super competitive, that in the US sometimes it feels more like a family, and this will feel more like the national team with the level and also with the way that the girls approach it. And you gave her all these tips on what to do and how to approach practice and what she's going to go through. And I'm pretty sure I told her to buy a really nice flat.
Buy a really nice flat.
Yeah. Well, I actually told her to get a manor, but she said she wasn't ready for that. So I said, fine, a penthouse flat will do.
Yeah.
And that was my number one advice for going abroad. I stand by it because how you live, if you don't have friends and the food that walking in a beautiful flat will make you play better.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's a life. You forget that it's not just a job, it's your entire life and you're packing up and move. You're a young person. You've never actually had to do this. You didn't go to college. This is your first time really leaving home. She didn't even have to move when she went to Angel City. She's from LA. So this is a massive move. And to just hear her speak about it, hear her humility. She's such a humble player. Her parents have done a fantastic job with all of those kids, it looks like. But Alyssa, she's ready for this in the way that she's not ready for it, right? She's leaning into that uncomfortable feeling that all great players lean into, which is, what's inside me? Is there something there? I want to find out how good I can be. And that to me is that's the magic.
That gives me the chills because no matter what your age, that is the human condition. That's like the state that I want to be in. Okay, now it's time to watch this interview. Enjoy Alyssa Thompson 3 years ago. And then we will be back for Tobin's takes on the next players to watch.
As promised, we're here with the one and only Alyssa Thompson.
Woo! Welcome to the recap. So let me share some of your amazing accomplishments with the world. Alyssa Paola Thompson is a young superstar for the U.S. Women's National Team and for Angel City FC. When she was 15, she committed to play at Stanford, but later opted out to go pro instead. In 2021, she was named Gatorade National Soccer Player of the Year. Alyssa would go on to be the #1 NWSL draft pick in 2023. While still in high school, Alyssa scored 5 minutes into her pro debut with Angel City, and if I remember correctly, it was a good one. And in her first regular season match with Angel City, she scored in the first 11 minutes. So you are starting your games hot. She would go on to win NWSL Rookie of the Month for March and April of this year. This June, Alyssa was named to the U.S. Women's National Team. She was the youngest player on the World Cup squad, and she appeared in her first ever World Cup. She made her debut against Vietnam in a 3-0 opening round win. We expect incredible things from her in the next few years to come, and we are thrilled that she is joining us today. Welcome, Alyssa.
Woo! Thanks. That made me blush, guys.
Oh, good. Then we're doing our job.
That was like a long thing.
But it's a big deal having you here. We have been here this whole World Cup, sitting on this couch, talking about the World Cup, and you were over there playing in it, and we were so proud. Obviously, you being my teammate at Angel City, you represented us so well, and we're so proud, and it was such a big job.
So proud.
And
can I brag on Alyssa since you just gave her bio? I want to give you an unofficial bio. This is in the words of Tobin.
Okay.
Alyssa Thompson, the little magician. I'm a fan. I remember the first time watching you play. I watched you play for the U20s, very special. And then I got to watch you play here in the backyard of LA, and you have a incredible, innate way of playing that I have rarely seen in a player. It's just in you. You just instinctively know the game and how to be special. I can't wait to watch the rest of your career because already you're doing things that wow me and are going to absolutely wow the world. And now you have a World Cup under your belt at 18 years old. It's really cool. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Okay, and one other thing. So, Tobin and I were fighting, like bickering the other day. And she was like, you never know when anyone's going to be a good player. Name one player that you saw play you thought was good. And I was like, Alyssa, I saw
and I said fair.
5 minutes. I was like, oh, she's really good. Because you also had a lot of hype, right? So then sometimes we watch with a more critical eye when a player's supposed to be good. And within 5 minutes, I was like,
a very critical eye.
Yeah, I was like, dang, the hype's real. This is real.
Yeah.
Okay, but to go to the World Cup, I would like to hear, how did you pass your time? What did you do for fun? We know that, soccer takes up a little slice of the day. What did you do in between training and meetings?
Sometimes I would watch my show on Netflix.
What's
SWAT?
SWAT?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Never
no
heard
one.
of it.
Yeah, it's so good. I love watching like police thing, and it's based in LA. It's so interesting, like how they figure out things and investigate, and then it's based in LA, so I know some of the places they're at, so it's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were all the way over in New Zealand and Australia watching LA police shows. Got it.
Okay.
Homesick.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about what your World Cup experience was like, what it felt like preparing, and how that tournament felt for you being there for your first time.
Yeah, I mean, I was very nervous in preparation for the World Cup because I didn't know if I was gonna get called in or if I was doing enough or if I was I don't know.
You
very
had a really abrupt call in.
Oh yeah.
We were talking about this.
It was crazy.
So Mal Pugh, this was the April camp. So this was the kind of the camp before basically the send-off games, and then you go to the World Cup. Mal Pugh in the first game
of a 2-game camp, goes down with an injury that everybody's like,
It's going to be bad.
it's going to be bad. We're going to need to replace her on the World Cup roster. You literally get a phone call
During the game.
Yeah.
While the game's still going on.
yeah.
during the game.
Like the 90 minutes of the game that Mal goes down in. She
and
gets a phone
you get on a plane. You then start
Yeah.
in that match. I'm pretty
days
sure
later.
you got calf cramp.
Yeah, I did.
That's the thing. And I was like, good God, I know she's 18, but this is a lot. You get a calf cramp. You played great. Because then you started, then the next game, the send-off game,
Yeah.
and then you went to the World Cup.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. I was just like, for the first camp, I was walking in like, okay, I don't know what he's going to do because, like, Mal's hurt. I don't know. They already had a lot of players for the game. Like, I didn't even know if I was getting called in. I wasn't watching the game because we just finished practice. So I was like, what is going on? And I was like, so
Oh my
just
gosh,
nervous.
wait. During the game, you were practicing, so you don't even know what's happening.
Yeah.
And then you're like in the locker room and you get a phone call.
Yeah, we were playing at Pepperdine, and I was at the Malibu Country Mart after. Kate calls me. Her reception's terrible. She's like, I'm at the stadium. Wait, let me text you. And then she texts me like,
Your flight
are you
number.
able to get on a flight tonight to go to wherever?
But that is like a very fast turnaround.
Yeah.
And then from that point, you had a few months to prepare.
Yeah.
And you, every time I ask you like how you're doing before game, you tell me every time like, oh, I'm really nervous.
Yeah.
But then when you go out, you play like with no nerves at all.
Yeah.
You play like you've been there a million times. So you were feeling a little nervous, but that's kind of your homeostasis.
Terrified but great.
Yeah, I was nervous. But also, I was like, before I got called in to like that April camp, I didn't think that I was like trying to do everything that I could to be on the team, but
Yeah.
I didn't think I had like a really high chance of being able to make it. And after that kind of like, okay, if I continue to do what I do on the field, then maybe I'll be able to get called in. So I feel like that was a little like, after that camp, I was like, okay, I have to really like, get ready.
Was that your mentality, like just for you? Because we went out to dinner like not long before that, I
Yeah.
remember, and you were in the conversation, right, for making the World Cup team. And I remember I told you, just keep playing awesome. That's all you have to do. Like you were already playing awesome, keep playing awesome. But was that a mentality that you had, or was that something that was told to you? Like if you just keep playing the way you're doing, or if you play well in the league, you can make the World Cup team, or was it just kind of something that you were telling yourself?
Well, I mean, Vlaco said that, like, and he's told us, like, the whole team that, like, if you do well in the league, like, after that camp, he was like, it's not just based on what you do in camp, it's, like, what you do in the league, too. Mm-hmm. And then also I was just like, you can't, if you look at how I play, you can't, like, not see, like, that I could help maybe the team in some way. So, like, that in the league, that's the way he could see me play. So that's what I was like, if I play good, then there's no really.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with that, like with the abrupt kind of shift as you're going through your season from, okay, I'm going to do everything I can, but there doesn't seem like a high probability I'm going to the World Cup this summer, to, oh my gosh, I'm in the running and I'm like starting and there's a starting role that's open, right? Did you feel that in that shift in those couple of months that you were prepared when you got to the World Cup?
Yeah, I think I was prepared. I think that going to the, I get nervous. So I think that was like the only thing that is probably like brought me down a little bit. But I think that I was ready like physically for it. And like I wanted to play. So I was like ready.
We heard a story recently that I feel like part of your journey is like you kind of have manifested, being on the national team, making the national team. You've gone through the ranks of the national team. You come from like a very soccer-focused family. So it's very much a part of like your path, right? You're like, this is just the next step on my path. I go pro, I make the national team, I win World Cups, I'm the best player in the world. Like this is Alyssa Thompson. But we heard a funny story recently that you and your sister, who also plays, she's a little bit younger than you, that you guys took the U15...
No, the 2015.
U15. 2015 World Cup poster and you put your faces on it. So Kristen and I were wondering, whose faces did you
Cover.
okay, where they are?
I think it was funny because I don't really remember, but I think there's a picture, and I think my face was like on like Becky or Julie or something. So it didn't make any sense to me.
You're like, this is not a well-balanced team.
I was just like, I don't think we even had like an idea. We were just like, okay, let's put our faces on it. But yeah, it was like in our room, right next to like our beds. It was so funny.
Yeah, I get that idea of like kind of the manifestation of the dream, because I very much, actually, unlike you, I think you both share a similarity in kind of the styles of your families that you grew up in.
Yeah, we were thinking about you, and you seem like you have a super close relationship with your family, and they're playing like a major part in your career and your life. And I have a similar feeling with my family, where both my sisters played. I played on their teams. Both my parents managed and coached. Both my parents really wanted me to play for the national team. And it's really funny because actually with Tobin, we looked and we go, we got to the same place, but we got there from like the most opposite ways in terms of the role that our family played. Her family was super hands off. So they were just like, go to practice, whatever. My parents were like showing me videos, being like, you gotta go train. I'll pay you $20 if you can kick it over this fence. Like they were like pushing. So tell us what is your family's role? What was it when you were growing up? And what is it like now?
Yeah, I think it's kind of similar to that. Just like me and my sister were like a year apart. So we just could train together. And I feel like that was really fun because I was able to just get better that way. And like my mom is more hands off, I feel like, and my dad's like he was like training us. He never played soccer. He would watch like messy videos and then put drills in
my mom watched the Pele videos.
This
is so great.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
And like we would go in the backyard. He would just like set up drills. We would do them. We were not good at all when we were little, and we were just like fast. And we played a bunch of different sports. So we weren't just like focused on soccer. We did like basketball, volleyball, gymnastics. Like we did it all. And then like once I think my dad realized we were like good at it, he like started pushing us more, and like we were playing on different teams and stuff like that. But it was definitely a lot like to do with my sister, because I couldn't have like, because we went to a boys team and I could not have done that without her, I think, because I would feel so lonely and she's like my comfort. So being there, being able to feel like I could be myself, like playing was good, because I have someone that's like me there, and I know her. So yeah.
Yeah. What was it like? So did you play on a boys team that was like, what, the same age?
No, they weren't the same age. I was playing with my age group. She was playing with her age group. And then we had the same coach though. So we would practice a lot together. And like before practice was like probably the worst part when she wasn't there, because like I would be by myself and I don't like that. Like I rely on her so much, like just to do passing or talk or something. I mean, if I was there alone, I would not talk to anyone. So
I mean, that's like, we were actually just talking about being like
spaces.
Yeah, like, you know, that like like an amazing thing that you did that one. You're like, you know, training, getting good training, getting competitive in that way, like playing with boys, but also that like you have to do that is kind of like there's something like wrong with the structure, and then it's also you have to like go over this like social hurdle where especially like boys don't always respect girls who play, so like having to deal with that and like I think it is like really special that you had your sister, but like how did you kind of do that? Did you feel like boys like respected you as a player like once you started playing?
Yeah, I think they respect, like when I was little I played with the same team and I was like not good. I was like on the B team. I don't think they liked me because I was bad. Like I was just there like for fun, I guess. But,
wait, why? What was the decision to play on a boys team at such a young age?
I think our dad just took us there one time, and the coach like asked us to be on the team. So we just played for a little bit, and then I went back to girls, and it was like a lot of fun. I was like, but I was playing up like 4 years.
Yeah.
and then my dad was like, okay, we could, like during COVID, he's like, we should go back to the boys team just to train. And then the coach asked us to be on the team again. So we knew some of the boys, but I think that like they respected us a lot more And like once we started playing, they knew that we were good enough to be on the team, so they weren't like weird about anything.
But I mean that's like kind of a cool thing, like for your confidence and your development, that you had to like overcome that. I also love that you like were in the environment and then you like left and then you came back and you're like, now I'm good. So pass me the ball. That's really cool.
And I did share with you, I think, that you are an anomaly on the national team, because there was this like fun stat that firstborn children don't exist on the national team, that it's actually like quite
researched extensively by Tobin.
Yes. Very interested in these trends, you know? So I remember when we went out to dinner, I was like, no way, you're the oldest. And you're like, yeah. And I was like, you're really going up against like a lot of research.
A lot of data.
A lot of research. And, but I do think what you referenced about your sister being so close in age, there is other research where we have a lot of twins on the national team.
Yeah.
So I do think you're playing into a dynamic more closely related to that, where you had a training partner, and you did reference in COVID, actually, when a lot of people kind of didn't have training environments because there wasn't any, you know, teams up and running, you still had your sister to train with.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is like gave you like a time where most people stopped developing for a little bit.
Yeah.
It gave you a time where you could continue to develop.
Yeah, it was really nice, honestly.
Yeah.
I was just like had my sister and stuff.
And then you decided to make the brave decision. I don't know if brave is the right word, but the decision to not go to Stanford and to go pro. What was that decision like for you?
It was very hard. Like me and my family thought about it for a long time, and then ultimately it came down to my decision, but it was just like there were so many factors that went into making it, and I thought like this is kind of my dream job, and I have the opportunity to do it right now, and going to college, there's a lot of factors that I don't know about too. Like, am I going to get better? Am I going to like continue to...
You can't play on the boys team.
I can't play on the boys team. And like, there were a lot of factors like there too. So ultimately, like right now, I was like, I want to pursue like my dream job. And if I have the opportunity right now to do that, and in LA, and like, just like having it in LA was...
That's
the
a
best
big
part.
factor.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gone if it wasn't in LA.
Let's go back to the World Cup. Because I do think that everybody has a different experience at the World Cup. We were talking a little bit about this. And, you know, Tobin and I have done several, and like each one's a little bit different. And I think that there's this idea from the outside world, especially when you've won, that like it should have been super fun, right? But every World Cup's different. And obviously this was a tough one for the team. But there's a lot of good things in your experience too, being your first opportunity and getting to learn and getting to see that team. So I would just like to know how the World Cup felt for you.
It felt like in the beginning, it didn't really feel real to me still, because I felt like, I was new on the team. I've never done this before. Like people were still trying to like, I feel like get me like up to speed a little bit. And then for a while, like throughout the tournament, I was just like, there were some days where I was just like sad and like, I don't know. I felt really lonely some days too. It was just, I feel like it's a lot, that tournament, and like playing or not, like there's different things too. And I wasn't playing that much. So like also having that, and like, I felt like I was like happy for game day. I wasn't as nervous as most people, and I was like more like excited. I felt a lot like a fan watching the games and stuff. And I was obviously ready to go in whenever I needed to go in, but it was like, it just felt like a different experience. And it's going to be different for everyone on the team too, which is weird too, because every World Cup's different, but it's different for everyone too.
Yeah, exactly. And like I think back on my 2015 experience, actually, I went into that tournament as a starting player, and it was my first World Cup, and I had this like clear vision of how this was going to go, right? And the third game of the group, I did not start, and I don't think I started the rest of the tournament. And so I was managing the team winning. And actually, the first 2 games we played terrible. I don't think I was that bad. But the team really did not perform well. And then I was no longer playing, and then the team started like winning, right? And so I was dealing with the tension of not meeting my own expectation and then the team winning. And so that's where I think it gets really interesting, because like at the end of the tournament, everyone was like, Christen, World Cup champ.
Yeah.
And I was like, I honestly I cried through the most of that tournament, you know, because like no matter how selfless you are in a tournament, like you do have expectations for yourself. And we were even talking about your 2019, which is a completely different experience because you're playing great, the team's winning, you're playing every minute, and you have stories where you were not having a good time. Do you want to talk about that?
Well, no, I mean, it was...
No, you don't want to share your feelings with the world? Because I want to.
Well, I'll just say I don't cry that often. And I remember, and this is like kind of a testament to just the kind of amount of, I would say, like pressure and expectation of the moment. And I remember one game that we had played, we then had like a...
Spain.
It was
Round of
against
16.
Spain, you're right.
I remember it so well.
Round of 16. And we had...
cry.
We had a meeting after where we were going over like what we could do better. And I remember like one of my jobs and one of all the forward jobs in that particular World Cup was to really aggressively make runs and push the line to create space. And a lot of it was like selfless work, like running knowing that you're not going to get the ball. And I remember in that particular game, I did like a lot of selfless running. And in that meeting, I remember Tony saying like something along the lines of like,
Not good enough.
It's not good enough. And I remember I like left that meeting and I just went for a long walk where I just cried my eyes out.
Because you didn't feel seen.
I didn't feel seen, and I also felt like I was working so hard for the team to be successful. And to be fair, they did a good job seeing like selfless things in that group, but that was one moment where I just felt like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, walking in before everything, I was like, if I make it, I'm definitely not going to play that much. Like, I had no expectation at all. And then when I started the game against, like, our send-off game, and I was, like, in the starting group a lot, and I was doing that a lot, I was like, okay, maybe this might be my role, or if I keep doing well,
crazy.
that this is how it's going to go.
Yeah. You're like,
and
I'm
then
going to start every game.
Maybe. I don't know. I was just, I don't know. I didn't know. So I was like just preparing myself for that. And then like once we went to Auckland, like I feel like I wasn't performing as well as I could have.
You didn't feel like yourself.
Yeah, I felt like, I feel like I was in my head a lot after like my first mistake. Or like I was just like, okay, I'm so bad. Like I had a lot of negative talk, I think, in my head. And I felt like I wasn't doing as well as I should be doing. So then it all like fell after.
Now you're like at a World Cup, and now you're like, am I going to be starting a World Cup? Like that's really a lot. That's a lot for an 18-year-old, a lot for an 18-year-old that's just starting on the national team. So I think you should give grace with yourself that like all of those feelings that you were feeling are like actually totally normal. And that's like kind of the grace that you should have when you first come into the national team.
A couple times I was like, I would try to walk into practice and be like, okay, today is going to be good and I'm going to be okay. So
I love that. Gonna do something amazing today.
I'm going to try to do what I'm good at because like that's why I'm here. And then one practice I was like, okay, like I played how I usually play.
Okay.
And I was like happy with myself. And after that practice, that's when I was just like, okay, I'm doing good now and I'm happy. And like a lot of like my teammates, like the younger girls, they like saw that I was like upset and they helped me a lot because they've been in like my position before, like being young on the team and coming up and knowing that you could be hard on yourself a lot. So they helped a lot for sure.
That's awesome to hear because I think that's a big part of the kind of group dynamic. So I'm really happy to hear that like you kind of found your group there. What's next for Alyssa Thompson? Like,
next?
yeah, what's next?
I'm looking forward to finishing out the season with Angel City. I hope we can win our next games and make it to the playoffs. That's what I hope we can do. So I'm looking forward to that. And I hope that I can make the Olympic team. But I feel like that's so far away, but it's not.
It's right around the corner.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that. I'm thinking
Strap in.
Yeah, get ready.
I'm thinking about the now. So
Yeah, that's good.
yeah,
You have a good way about being present.
yeah.
You're going to enjoy the rest of the LA summer.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the rest of the LA summer, and I'm gonna finish out the season with Angel City, and I really hope we make it to the playoffs. We're going to.
Great. Manifest
hopefully.
that.
Yeah.
And all of your friends are leaving for college. How are you feeling about that?
Sad. I've been hanging out with them a lot because they leave soon, but they'll come back for Thanksgiving and winter break and stuff like that. I don't want to think about it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one good one. And I actually was thinking about this when Tobin was telling the story that we heard about you, like, putting your face on.
Your face is on
Because-
Kristen and I's face.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to hear from your perspective, like, what the national team has meant to you, like, growing up. Obviously, you watched the team win 2 World Cups. You dreamed about being there. Now you're, like, the young part of the team. You're the future of the team. Like, what does the U.S. women's national team mean to you and mean to your family?
Wow. It means a lot, honestly, because I have always looked up, like, to you guys, obviously, and the team, and it's always been a dream. Like, I feel like when you think about soccer in the U.S., you think about the national team, and you think about just, like, the best players in the world. And I wanted to be a part of that group for so long, and me and my sister, like, dreamed about it for such a long time. Like, once I got called into, like, my first youth national team camp,
You put on that first dress. You remember that, right?
I do.
Yeah.
Like, I was 12 and I was like, this is real. Like, I could go further than this.
Yeah.
And I would, like, in the moment, I don't think it clicked for me that this is what can lead you to be on the full national team. But once I, like, started going through, like, the ages and continuing, I was like, wow. And watching you guys, like, you guys are so inspiring, like, for so many people. And, like, just being able to be a part of that and inspiring young girls to play soccer and, like, be, like, a fan like me, like, when I was like, I'm still a little
like
girl.
last year.
You're not a little girl.
I still feel like
You're a little magician.
little magician. Being a little magician. Whatever. I still feel like it's the coolest thing in the world. So
Yeah.
it's awesome. Yeah, it means a lot to me, really.
Well, I love to hear that because I feel like every player that comes through this program has this, like, shared experience of, like, the moment that you realize what the team means, which is greatness, and it's also progress and equity and so many of the things that we just, like, strive for. And then you have this other moment where you realize, like, you're good enough to maybe make it.
Yeah.
And that's, like, such an inflection point in all of our life. And, like, they might come at different times. Like, apparently yours came when you were 12. Mine came when I was 24. But we got there, you know, one way or another. Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. It's really beautiful. We're so excited to cheer for you and watch.
And play with you.
And play with you. And watch your journey unfold, because I think it's going to be really, really special.
Thank you.
It's important for athletes to not only care for their bodies, but their minds as well. But starting that journey of finding a therapist can be tough. Grow Therapy is designed to help you find a therapist who fits your needs and supports the way you want to feel. For me, therapy has helped me grow in ways I didn't even imagine for myself. But I know how daunting it is to even figure out where to begin. I can remember back when I was looking for a therapist, and I would have loved to have had a service like Grow Therapy. They connect you with thousands of licensed therapists across the US, with options for both in-person and virtual sessions. You can search by insurance, specialty, or even treatment methods to find the right fit for you. And if it doesn't feel like the right match, no stress. Switching is easy. There are no subscriptions, no long-term commitments. Just pay per session. Grow Therapy also works on your schedule with evening and weekend availability and the ability to cancel up to 24 hours in advance at no cost. Getting started with therapy shouldn't feel overwhelming. And with Grow Therapy, it doesn't have to. Whatever challenges you're facing, Grow Therapy is here to help. Sessions average about $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0, depending on their plan. Visit growtherapy.com/recap today to get started. That's growtherapy.com/recap. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan.
We hope that you enjoyed that look back with Alyssa. And now we're going to talk about other players in that special time in their career. Tobin, who are you excited to watch?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of exciting ones. A lot of teenagers in the NWSL right now, and we're seeing them get some significant minutes now on NWSL teams, which is really fun. Before I used to do all my scouting on the youth national teams. But some players that I love, everybody has heard me talk about Claire Hutton at Kansas City. And even this season, she's taken kind of another step and she's consistently playing. And it's great to see. I hope to see her with the national team. I love Kimi Escanio.
Oh, mini Tobin.
She is a mini Tobin. I've never really seen myself in anybody actually. And it's weird because it's kind of like more of a body, like
she looks like you. She wears
like
her
the way
hair
that
like
she moves
you,
her
and
body
she
a
moves
little
like
bit
you,
is
yeah.
And her demeanor. And what's actually kind of cool about it is I had asked Aaron Heifetz, who is like the longtime press officer and I always ask Aaron because he knows these kids from like the time they join the youth national team system. And he shared with me actually about Kimi a long time ago and was like, oh, this is a mini Tobin. You should look out for her. And now obviously she's doing great things for San Diego Wave, which is cool. Another player I really like is actually Sally Menti. I was watching the Angel City game versus Seattle. And when I was actually at Seattle, I kind of rubbed past a little bit with Sally. And then unfortunately, she had an ACL injury. So she's not super young. She's 23 years old. But when I saw her play against your team, I said, that is a quality player. And it's funny because there are like a little bit of Claire Hutton similarities, just like a really perceptive player, really smart player, loves to get on the ball, demands like the game's played at her speed in the midfield. And I know 23 during our time would have been young, so I think there's also a lot of players that are in these early 20s that actually can have like a really big impact, not just on the league, but also potentially on the national team. So that's another player that I really was drawn to when I was watching the NWSL. So,
well, I got my first call up at 23, so.
Exactly. And I think that that's like a little bit of what might happen now is these younger players, like I don't want to mention some that I'm a little bit fearful of, but these kind of hype players that
but now everyone's dying to know.
I mean, go in the membership and I'll probably say it there. But no, these like a little bit hypey players that have peaked a little bit. And I fear a little bit because it is very competitive, this youth movement. And I actually think there's some players that are a little bit sleeping giants, like Kennedy Fuller. Like the beginning of this season, I thought Kennedy Fuller was playing some phenomenal football. I think there's been like a lot of changes, especially for a young player, but that's player, we know Kennedy has the mentality to be a U.S. women's national team player. And I love watching her because I think she has something there. But yeah, there's a lot of players that are vying for this next generation of big players, big U.S. players. When you saw Alyssa Thompson, or the first time you saw her, what was the unique factor about Alyssa Thompson that you yourself saw that there was value for you to invest your kind of experiences and expertise into a player like Alyssa?
I mean, Alyssa Thompson, first Angel City scrimmage, raw talent. Like, yeah, I think it's like you see a stone with all the edges on it, that's what makes it the most exciting. You don't even know how big it's going to be. I don't know if that was the world's worst metaphor, but that's what I saw. And I have no ability to look at young talent. And I never, this is what we talked about on the interview. I never say this is going to be a good player, but I could tell. And I think, I look for in players an aura of there's a million ways to become great, a million different ways. We only think about a couple of ways. We think about skills and speed. No, I mean, do you have a magneticism to get your coach to believe in you? Do you have a joy that people want you on their team? There's an aura about her, and I think there's an aura about some of these young players. When I look at Kimmy, I think, she's doing things differently, and she makes me, honestly, when I watched her, she put a tear in my eye because it reminded me of you.
Speaking about these players, you talk about aura, like I think that's what it is. It's like all these players now have had resources that honestly we would have killed for, right? These resources that you have, these whole systems, like believing in a large group of people, not just a select group of people anymore. And for me, the difference that separates these players now is that, like, what makes you special? What is your special characteristic? Because now the level of just being a professional player isn't enough to make that jump. You can be a professional player, a good professional player for the rest of your career, but it's not necessarily going to put you on a World Cup team. So it's like, what is that? And I think what you said is aura. What makes you special? Like if you have one special quality, somebody should look out on the field, watch you play for 10 minutes and see something special.
Well, I will say that this is an important topic for a one Tobin Heath. Seeing that magic, that joy, and not just the discipline and the professionalism. So that is a full conversation for another day.
I love it.